views on the streets.
We go to bed empty hunger.
To the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VoP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things and makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VoP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
All right, hello and welcome to another day, the beginning of another week, of course. It's the second day in the month of December 2024. So I think it's appropriate to say Merry Christmas right now. Yes, I think it's appropriate. Oh well, welcome to the program. This is VoP This Morning. VoP This Morning stands for Voice of the People. Yes, Voice of the People. And we welcome you to the program. I am Moses Humphrey. And before we let you into the issues we'll be discussing today, it's been long I saw Fina. Good morning to you, Fina.
Good morning, Mo. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good to have you back at the studio.
All right, then. Oh, well, let's talk about some of the issues we'll be discussing today, of course. IPOB denounces fake Biafra declaration in Finland. Oh, well.
Quite interesting. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, wherever place you're watching us from. It's morning here in Lagos City, okay? And then another thing we'll be talking about today is how this tax reform, been causing issues back and forth. Some are saying it's going to ease the burden on poor Nigerians, and that is coming from Rev's Deputy Speaker, that's Philip Abese. He calls for TINUBU's support as lawmakers forward transmission of reform bills to National Assembly. Alain Dume also is saying something about how he is still not happy with the way this tax reform is being carried out. Sometime, I think last week or thereabout, he said something about how he would have left the All Progressives Congress if it has nothing to do with the relationship, the close relationship he shares with the president. If not, he would have backed out of the party.
Oh, well, close relationship or not, Nigerians, especially Northerners, are complaining about the tax reforms. But anyway, let's talk about something else before we get into those conversations. Now, those are the conversations we will beam our searchlight on this morning. But on to other issues now. The President Bola Tinubu, heads to South Africa for bilateral talks with the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, we hear that President Bola Tinubu will depart France today for Cape Town, South Africa, to co-chair the 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Bi-National Commission alongside President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, the Presidential Bi-National Commission, scheduled for Tuesday, December 3, will follow a ministerial meeting planned for December 2, 2024 at the South African Parliament building in Cape Town. Nigerians are concerned as to the fact that the president seems to be, jumping from one place to another. He's still in France, but departs France today for South Africa. The visit to France was a state visit, and Nigerians are asking, how does this truly benefit Nigeria? Well, we'll touch on all of that in the course of the program. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government has announced that it has secured a 300 million euro worth of development financing partnership with the French government. Now, you do recall that President Tinubu has, well, I did say earlier, he's been in France. And Nigerians are also talking about what Nigeria stands to gain from Brazil, because it looks like these visits are yielding positive results. A visit to Brazil, visit to France, 300 million euros worth of deal. Oh, well. Are they yielding results? Or are there other things that Nigerians should be concerned about? Oh, well, we'll talk about this in the course of the program.
But with a 300 million euro, isn't that a result for someone to, after the three days that visit and all that? Don't you think
from right after the president's visit to the United Arab Emirates, Nigerians have become a little weary as to when figures are pandered, when they say, oh, this money was gotten because of this deal, or this thing was done because of this deal. Nigerians take these things with a pinch of salt. There's a major trust deficit between the governed and the people. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, the people and the leaders of the country. There's a deficit in trust. You don't take their words, the way it comes. So Nigerians are asking, what will we have to give back? That's another thing. If we are getting these monies, what are we giving back? Is it oil? Basically, the oil has been really depleted. We've used our oil to collect loans and everything. But we also saw that Minister of Dele Alake, was there in France, signed a deal that will give French authorities, access to the mineral resources, and as they will come to help develop these things in Nigeria.
I have a problem with that.
Would that be our benefit?
No, let me tell you, I have a challenge with this now. The whole thing. I'm not trying to, stereotype a particular government or people, but the fact that, check it out, the Francophone countries are severing ties with their colonial masters or colonialists.
France.
If you check it out, Burkina Faso, Chad, even Mali, even Senegal, and all that have come up to say, you see this happening, please, we don't need you again in our territory. They are even sending away the military that they have, their presence there in these countries. Now, why would Nigeria go on to embrace them? The president's come up, or rather on the words of Wala Aidun, the Minister of Finance, saying something about how the French-Nigeria bilateral relations is going to open ways for more Nigerians to be employed. Where is that employment going to happen? Is it in Nigeria or I don't know. And now Dela Alake, the Minister of Solid Minerals, telling us that French will now have access to mine our mineral resources. And one wants to ask, the mineral resources that we have in Nigeria, is it that we don't know what to do with all this? Are we giving the same thing that causes a challenge?
Chinese have access to mine some of our resources.
And also more, if you check out all the bilateral relations, it's all borders on agriculture, infrastructure. That of Saudi Arabia also have agriculture. They'll have stuff to do with, is it agrosemic or something like that in Saudi Arabia. Then in France too, agriculture is also part of what we'll talk about. Infrastructure is also there. Before you now look at every other thing.
I don't have a problem with developing.
Why are we repeating the same? I think we should look for other sectors. I
don't have a problem with developing other aspects of Nigeria's economy. Agriculture, yes. Mineral resources, moving away from oil, yes. But then, like you rightly pointed out, let's look at the relationship of France with its...
The colonies.
Yes. Relationship has not been pleasant. Niger gained independence the same time Nigeria did. Yeah. Gained their independence from France. And just last year, we saw how relations between them went downhill. And, they basically asked Russia to come save them. They were flying Russian flags. They basically cordoned off French embassy, all right, preventing the ambassador from doing activities, and asked the military to leave. Now, that showed that there was a break in relationship. Chad, like you rightly said, Chad the other day severed military ties with France. Yeah. And they did say they value their sovereignty. Now, that word is key. They value their sovereignty, which to me speaks to the fact that France has, infringed on the sovereignty of these countries that they colonized. And Nigeria now, we're giving ourselves to France. How truly will this benefit Nigeria? This
conversation reminds me of what we were taught in elementary history then, when we were much younger, when they talk about French colonies being under direct rule, from France and all that. Policy of assimilation.
Indirect rule.
I think, direct. They use direct rule because that's where they have policy of assimilation, where you have to forget your language and make sure you speak French and all that. And are we going to see that in Nigeria? Is that what is going to happen to us with the whole signing of MOUs?
We will encourage the use of French in Nigeria, the same way government has been talking about encouraging learning Mandarin, all right? So thinking about it, I think the Nigerian child in the future might be a lot more confused. Attack on Igbo businesses. Well, I don't think that's it. From research done, show that these individuals are actually members of staff of NAFDAC. Yes, and some of the companies that they visited to restrict the production of water was because they found them to have infringed on, health issues. Well, that is on one side. We should have proper identification, and we should also not blow things out of proportion. If NAFDAC officials if they go to visit, there should be a proper badge or maybe a jacket.
They have their jackets. They have their jacket. They have their red jacket.
Put on the jacket. Let the people know that the same way we have DSS have their own jackets. Have your jacket on. Let the people know that this is the agency you represent. So we will not have one agency being pitched against the other and fake news flying around. All right. So, and then it also boils down to the issue of some Nigerians are taking advantage of. All right. I remember a time where I just started driving not too long. Just started driving in Lagos, and I was stopped somewhere for not strapping on my seatbelt, and because of the tension, I did not ask the individuals which agency they represented actually, and they were on Mufti, and they were like, hey, you have to bring this money, or we'll take you to the office, and then got into my car. We drove to a corner. They go like, okay, if you don't want me to take you to the office, you have to pay a certain amount of money, And then I parted away with money. It was so painful because it was right after the individual left my vehicle. It dawned on me that, look, I didn't ask for a badge. I didn't ask for an identity. I'm like, Moses in Lagos, a whole Lagos boy, So people should take their time to ask questions sometimes. If you come at me, who do you represent? Can I see an identity? Right after that incident, if a policeman stops me, maybe on Mufti or whatever, I will ask for an identification. Let me see your ID card. Let me be sure that you are a policeman. Oh, well, Nigerians should be a lot more cautious, and we also should be wary of fake news. Yes, there you have it on the screen, busting those sachet water in the trucks. Well, if you want to caution them for infractions done, I don't think this is the right thing to do, actually. Maybe the factory should be sealed. The factory should be visited and probably sealed, and that way they will do the right thing. But busting this after production, no, this is not the right thing to have been done.
But I think if you check it again the other way, you find out that NAFDAC have been talking about how substandard goods, which is kind of harmful to people, are being produced in mass, in part of this country whereby everyone wants to get money, And then you now ask what happened to be the conscience of Nigerians. That's man's inhumanity to man. A whole lot of time, I could remember there was a day I bought a bottle water, a table water too. I opened it, they were like, madam, this water is open. And then she looked me in the face and she said, what do you expect? Later was this one say they cork it under the bridge.
Yes.
Imagine taking the water, because I insisted. I said, so I'm not taking it, take back. She refused to give me my money. I was like, go oh, don't worry, I'm not taking it. I don't want to have typhoid or any other thing. And imagine drinking water and have cholera from it and all that, But I think also people that produce water should know how important water is. And they should make sure they meet all the standard requirements before they will go on into the production, before people will keep on.
Well, you've said it all already. You've said it all already. Man's inhumanity to man. Because people are desirous of making quick money, they compromise health of others. But that's really not good. Your conscience should speak to you. There's a Tubaba song that really comes to mind when I think about things like this. They talk about people importing fake drugs just because they want to make money, and they endanger the lives of others. Oh, well, away from that story, there's also the story around NNPCL. Well, the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, says the Port Harcourt refining company has not yet begun bulk sales, stating that essential processes are still being finalized. Well, do recall that Petroan has cautioned against spreading false claims that the PH refinery is non-functional. After numerous delays, we hear that NNPC finally activated 60,000 barrels per day. Well, we really need to understand all of this, the things going on. Well, from what I gather, NNPCL, the Port Harcourt refinery, is up and running. From what we have heard, it's up and running. They are blending, crack C5 and, a few other things to get PMS. But it's not on a very large scale. Now, in the news today, we hear that marketers are rejecting the price. Marketers are speaking to the price. 1,030 naira. Ipman is saying, no, this is not acceptable. We will not take 1,000. We will not accept.
This is 75 PMS, naira higher than that of Dangote refinery. So I think if the refineries are going to come upstream and function properly, then Nigerians should see the benefits of it. The only challenge I have is the fact that
the price of PMS.
During the will I say opening of that refinery, reopening because it was opened all this while, we saw how they talked about how 200 trucks was loaded. Until one man from the community, Timothy Mbere, come up to say, no, it's not 200. It's just six trucks that was what they loaded. And that product was there for like 3 years before finally, it came up and all that. Well, anyway, that is how far we can go on looking at the trending topics. We'll have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll move straight down to checking what the national dailies are talking about this early morning. Just stay with us. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's VoP this morning on Voice of the People Television. The national daily I have before me this morning is the Punch newspaper, and it has the banner headline to be Tax Reform. Rep suspends debate indefinitely as Northern governors mount pressure. Right after that story, 72 lawmakers Zulum, Tamboa rejects bills. APC slams critics as Northern groups protests. Now, beside the nameplate, minimum wage strike begins in 5 states. FCT as panel meets. I'll take that again for clarity purpose. Minimum wage strike begins in 5 states. FCT as panel meets. And we have other headlines to be. Punch wins newspaper editor of the year, others at Dame Award. And we have a major pictorial. In that pictorial, we have a president and the French president, and seated on the chair is Tony Elumelu, and beside him is the French Minister of Finance, Mr. Anthony Amrand. And beside that pictorial, we have other headlines to be a PH refinery low-key operations begins. Marketers oppose 1,013 naira per litre fuel. Swiss cement maker sells $1 billion stake in Lafarge. Ministry retirees a planned protest over unpaid entitlements. That story is on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. Mother, 2 children killed as arsonists set family ablaze in Lagos. Very terrible. That story is on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. And the last but not the least of the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Punch newspaper this morning reads, How Obasanjo rejected single-term presidency? And that is coming from Olanipe Kun. And those are the headlines you see when you go through the Punch newspaper.
All right, so away from the Punch now to first news. We have the bold headline here. Tax bill controversy. Atiku urges NAS to revisit NEC resolutions. And then we have other headlines here. Obasanjo thanks Gowon for life-saving letter to Abacha. I had no idea, he says. TINUBU departs France for South Africa to join Ramaphosa at Binational Commission. IPOB disowned Simon Ekpa supporters over United States of Biafra declaration. Ebonyi NLC announces 1-week strike over unpaid new minimum wage. Trump warns BRICS nations 100% tariff loom if dollar is replaced. All right then. Okay. Some more headlines here. Jonathan hails Fubara as Rivers' emerging political general despite challenges. CBN unveils redesigned website to enhance user experience. Troops crush bandits in Taraba. Seize arms, ammunition. These are the headlines from First News, I beg your pardon.
On the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune this morning, you have the stories as follows. Tax reform deals. Confusion in House of Rep as APC caucus aborts fixed meeting. Clerk announces suspension of plenary on proposed legislation. Why Southern lawmakers are divided. APC National Working Committee keeps mute on lawmakers. That story is on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune. And the window headlines are, Olanipe could back 6-year single-term proposal for presidents. IPPIS, FG orders investigation into alleged deductions from NCOs, NSCDC personnel salaries. Obasanjo thanked Gowon, says, I wasn't aware, he wrote Abacha for my release. And we have other headlines on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune to be long-lasting interjectable HIV prevention drug set for rollout in Nigeria. I'll take that again for clarity purposes. Long-lasting injectable HIV prevention drug set for rollout in Nigeria. The story is on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. Ekiti governor floods company to buy, store agri products from farmers. After 35 years in Brazil, businessman returned some with ingested cocaine. Tax reforms. Fiscal policy must not strengthen some states, punish others. That is coming from Atiku Abubakar. 10,000 jobs at risk as seaport concession agreement renewal stalls. Ondo workers will receive minimum wage next week. NLC. Ebonyi workers to begin strike today. And those are the stories you'll find in Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, the minimum wage conversation. Oh, well. So the Guardian newspaper now. Labour begins nationwide strike. Cities empty. Promises. Okay, cites empty promises by governors. I take that one again. Labour begins nationwide strike. Cites empty promises by governors. And we also have Atiku, Zulum lead northern opposition against tax bills ahead of NAS. I never knew Gowon saved me from Abacha, Obasanjo says. 2027, splinter APC group moves to register with INEC. Interesting headline there. The Guardian, this is government mum as poly lecturers begin strike today. Judiciary graft, abuse of power diminish public confidence, AGF says. Name contractors that disappeared with MDA's 167 billion naira. Serap tells TINUBU. Groups demand regionalism, parliamentary system, new name for Nigeria. Well, these are the headlines from the Guardian newspaper, and I pretty much, yes, I think we can do one more round.
On the cover page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, the banner headline reads, CBN to retire 1,000 offers. CBN to retire 1,000 offers 50 billion naira payoff. They are offering me 97 million naira for 4 years service. 17 sacked directors yet to be replaced. I will take that again. CBN to retire 1,000 offers 50 billion naira payoff. They are offering me 97 million naira for 4 years service. 17 sacked directors yet to be replaced. And we have other headlines there. To be 2027, Atiku Obi's parley in Yola reignites major permutations. Daily Trust wins Damesbury's Design Newspaper Award. FSGRN reacts to Supreme Court lottery regulation judgment, unveils reciprocity licensing regime. All right, I will have a major pictorial to be from the African Military Games that's happening now in Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. And that is Nigeria's combatants. They are doing the 4x400 relay race. And beneath that, FG begins malaria vaccination for children today. Minimum wage. States race to beat NLC deadline. Obasanjo to go on. I never knew you asked Abacha not to kill me. And we have the last but not the least of the headlines on the cover page of the Daily Trust to be experts differs on impact of TINUBU's tax reform on North.
And then lastly, let's touch on the Blueprint newspaper. The banner headline here talks about insecurity. It says bandits on revenge mission suffer casualties in Zamfara. Troops destroy hideouts, recover ammunition in Taraba. I didn't know Gowon persuaded Abacha not to kill me. Obasanjo. Nigeria, France agree on 300 million euro infrastructure, a Greek investment. France coach hails superb Nadozier despite Falcon defeat. Blending crude, a global best practice. Analyst. And then Syrup questions AGF Edu over 167 billion naira contract from 31 ministries. And we also have TINUBU tax reform bills will eliminate double taxation. Ohaneze. Atiku calls for transparency, objectivity. Kaduna begins payment of 72,000 naira minimum wage. FG raises loan for MSMEs to 5 million naira at 9% interest. 2 million processed cards uncollected by Nigerians, says NIMSI. And bottom strip there, TINUBU departs France today to co-chair 11th session of Binational Commission in South Africa. All right, then. Well, these are the headlines that we can take at this moment. Join us again at 9 o'clock for a more comprehensive package from the newspaper on newspaper review. But let's look at one of the issues that we'll be delving into today on the program. IPOB denounces fake Biafra declaration in Finland. Let's talk about this one when we come back. Join us again.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VoP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things and makes a society:
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VoP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Well, thanks for joining us again. Well, let's let you into the conversation proper now. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, have distanced themselves from the recent declaration of a Biafra Republic by a Finland-based faction, branding the announcement as a complete scam. IPOB has called on the public to dismiss this declaration, asserting that those involved are key players in the unrest plaguing Nigeria's southeast. In a statement issued on Sunday, IPOB's spokesman, Ima Powerful, clarified the group's stance, revealing that the real agenda behind the Finland declaration was to destabilize the southeast, sow division, incite panic, and distract from the authentic Biafran struggle. Well, it's quoted as saying, there's no room for any new Biafra declaration beyond the historic one made by our late leader, Dim Ojukwu, in 1967. Well, Ima Powerful declared categorically, labeling those behind the Finland declaration as criminals and imposters. Meanwhile, IPOB has warned Obasanjo to hands off and stay clear of any interference, condemns planned visit to ex-president's home. However, there's also a call for restructuring, as the Middle Belt Forum reiterated that the current system has led to the marginalization of the middle minority groups. Now, MBF, Middle Belt Forum's national president, Dr. Bitrus Pogu, claimed that the Middle Belt region had historically been marginalized and excluded from key decision-making processes. Well, we have joining us in the studio Mr. Aki Fatunke, who is a communications consultant and, well, here in the capacity of a public affairs commentator as well. Well, good to have you join us in the studio. Right beside him is Barrister Darlington Agumwa. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning, Moses.
Good to have you in today's show, Barrister.
Very well, thank you. Okay. Now let's talk about Biafra Declaration. Barrister, let me start with you on this one. There was a re-declaration in Finland by the Biafra in Exile group, and IPOB officials in Nigeria, back home in Nigeria, are distancing themselves. Now the question is, can there be a declaration after a declaration, to start with? You do recall that in 1967, Dim Ojukwu declared the state of Biafra. Now, it may not have been recognized, but can there be another declaration? Should that hold water?
There are two different scenarios here. In that of 1967, there was an outright war that took place.
From the declaration?
Yes, from that declaration. And everybody knew the story. But in this case now, Simon Egba and his fellow travelers, I don't know where they are coming from, because the Igbos are not united in this. And it did not even get the approval of at least 80 to 90% of the Igbos. So,
how do you determine the 80 to 90%? Because we see a lot of, when you say the Igbos are not united in this, we see that social media it has come to stay. Whether we like it or not, what happens on social media has an impact. And we see a lot of Nigerians, supposedly from Igbo extraction, supporting this Biafra in exile group, from their comments at least.
Even to the point of having a referendum that he said have 50 million Igbos voted in that referendum.
Look, we are in a modern era. There are ways of doing things. These guys want to create problems for the Igbos at home. Meanwhile, they are not at home. That is the issue here. They want to create unnecessary problem for the Igbos at home. Look, the world has moved on. If you want to do such a thing, there are modus operandi. There are processes. It's no longer by violence or whatever. No. You saw how UK did it when they wanted to exit from Europe. There are procedures. So, except you follow that procedure, there is no declaration here. You cannot use what happened in 1967 to equate what is happening in 2024. Are we going back or forward? If there is something like that, yes, it must be the agreement of all Igbos. And there must be reasonable ground for that. You can't just wake up and then 2 or 3 of you will go to Finland and say, okay, you have declared, so what is it now? Has it made any impact, on the laps of the Igbos at home, who are in the majority? How many of them are out there? How many of them are out there? We told Simon Negba from the beginning, please stop this your sit at home and killing the Sati. That was what we said. And this young man did not listen. He was just doing his own. I don't know whether he's being sponsored or whatever. We told him you cannot be killing the Igbos and then claiming that you are fighting for them. No. That's not how things are done.
Now,
so now that you have...
Barrister, you asked the question and you also pointed to the importance of, you did say of what impact would it have,
yes.
the declaration, of what impact would it have on those at home. But we have seen the impact Simon Ekpa has had on those at home.
Those ones are past tense. It's past tense now. By the way, why would they declare Biafra Republic in the absence of their Oga?
Who's the Oga?
Simon Ekpa. He's the one championing this thing in Finland. How could this happen in his absence? Is it possible? Oh, is he? So are you talking of a Biafra?
Is now the leader of Biafra or leader of?
He said he's the prime minister in exile, prime minister of Biafra in exile. But right now he's in the prison in Finland. So is he going to rule the so-called Igbos from prison yard? No, look at it. Does it make sense? It's like these guys are taken off for granted. We are past this now. We are more than this. That's not what we are asking for. Right. I'm telling you, yes, they are making a joke of all these things. Some group of people gather somewhere and say, what are the parameters? What did you have on ground? Nothing. You just declared Biafra. On whose behalf? The real Biafra is at home here, the southeast region. So how many of them are out there? So
are you saying that, through this agitation, no one has the right to declare a government in exile?
I said
that's played out.
That is not how to go about it. They should not make us look as if we don't know what we are doing. That's what I'm saying. They should not rubbish the Igbos. That is not how to go about it. The way they are doing is not.
Okay. All right, then. Let's bring Mr. Akin Fatuke into the conversation now. Now, first off, I'm going to just throw two questions at you. Do you consider the Biafra in exile group seriously? Do you think they're serious in this struggle? Now, that's on one side. Now, talking about the redeclaration, I'm sure you know the story of Eritrea. They declared a state of Eritrea from Ethiopia, but they were not recognized. But they did a redeclaration much later, some years later, and then they had a UN-monitored referendum that recognized them. Now, the Biafra in exile group, they're calling for a referendum, UN-monitored referendum.
From exile.
Do you think that can be achieved? Those are the questions I have for you.
Thank you, Moses. I will cut the chase. Personally, I don't see seriousness. However, I have learned in my life that when a mosquito patches on the wrong spot, usually you want to get it off, and you want to squash it with a sledgehammer, you're going to cause more damage. You have just mentioned Eritrea. Jonas Savimbi also had something similar. It starts like a smoke. Before you know what is happening, it's going to cause a conflagration. The PLO movement with late Yasser Arafat was saying that they needed to get the Israelis out. And part of the things that happened at the earlier stage was this bombing and all that before people now start on a table. But by that time, so many people have been killed. So I personally don't believe that that is right. Yes, I disagree with Barrister. I know that might be a slip, that the first declaration in Biafra in 1967 was due to war. It actually led to war. It was after the Aburi or no Aburi thing that I know later Dim Ojukwu was saying, things did not go well in terms of agreement. And that the Nigerian nation, the pogrom that happened in the north, where our Igbo brothers and sisters were massacred mercilessly in response to what happened in 1966. But I agree with Barrister.
In January.
In January, I agree with Barrister Gomo that it has to go through a particular process. Moses, will you, in your thinking, because the answer I know is yes and no, will you, in your thinking, look at forceful takeover of government, military coups, as a panacea, as a way out? You may say right, you may say no. Those that you call terrorists, on one hand, they say they are freedom fighters in another breath. I foresee a situation where mutation, what is happening in Finland now, in my mind, is mutation, i.e., Simon Ekpa is now undergoing serious interrogation against not terrorism now, but forceful and doing things that are illegal. So he's gone into custody. His friends and people outside will want to start to make some agitation. The same thing happened with Nnamdi Kanu. So having put all this together, in my honest opinion, I make 2 points. One, I think Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should, like I've always said, look for this political solution, free Nnamdi Kanu. My belief is that there are plans on the way to free him. And you free him for 2 reasons. One, others in other areas, whether for larger or lesser degree, have found their freedom one way or the other. I am not sitting here and saying that Nnamdi Kanu had not made comments or inflammatory comments, but I think it's high time we sit and then do that. The second fundamental statement, which I think is going to shake the table, is the fact that I think the Southeast, large, vibrant sets of people that I know I have friends. I've sat in class with them, I've played football with them, I've seen they are highly enterprising, but they are not perfect. Like every other region is not perfect. One area, in my honest opinion, that I think they need to learn from some other region, specifically the Southwest region, is that collectively, a no is a no, and a yes is a yes. I am referring to IPOB, I'm referring to ECPA, I'm referring to whatever, and I'm also referring to the Southwest.
So the people should come together and say no if they mean no.
And they were talking about, Yoruba Nation, and they made an attempt in, the other time, but the vast majority, up to about 99% of the Yoruba Nation say no.
All right.
You should not do what you want to do. If you want to do it the normal process. Otherwise, we are going to be...
All right, Barrister Darlington, I know it's like you have something different to say, in reaction to that. But I want to ask this question. Why is it that the Igbos, the elites in Igbo land, and even the political bigwigs in Igbo land did not say anything when Simon Ekpa made 29th of November, 28th of November to be the day for that declaration? Remember, he wrote a memo sending it down to Nigerian military to say, come, I invite you for the day of the declaration. Why is it that it took them so long before now Imapowerful come up to start talking about it? Is it that they don't really think that he's going to pull through, or him and his team will pull through with that declaration, or what? And that is it. And second one is, we talked about the first declaration and the second one. Nnamdi Kanu some time ago was asked to declare the Biafra for the second time. He refused doing that, saying that it's going to be more like marrying what Ojukwu began. What is really stalling them from doing the needful? Since the people are kind of chiming in and saying that they want this IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, to be declared, and they're working towards it. We've seen the followership Simon Ekpa had, and how the people are also, when you think you've arrested him, how people are also throwing their support or their weight behind him.
Fina, let us not misinform the public here. There was never a time the Igbo elite supported Simon Ekpa. Get it right. Everybody is united against him because of the way he's going about it. But to check Nnamdi Kanu, everybody wants him to be released. People are behind Nnamdi Kanu, both within and outside. So don't come here and tell me that the Igbo elite did it, they did not do it. Why would you pay attention to Simon Ekpa? When he declared his whatever in Finland, did you see any Igbo elite there? Did you see Ohaneze there? Hold on. Did you see a group of Igbos who now say, let us go there and they represent the Igbo in any guise? So please, we are not interested in whatever he's doing.
We are not misinforming.
Because he said that the Igbo elite...
We are not misinforming the public.
Hold on. He said, why is it that the Igbo elite did not take Simon Ekpa serious?
Well,
why is it that they did not stop him when he came up with that agenda of making November 28 or 29? Why were they mum? Why were they mute up until the time that it was declared?
What do you want us to say?
So why is it causing an issue now, Barrister Darlington, that finally they have declared this this in Finland?
What happened?
Why is it that the Igbos are now beginning to talk about it? Why didn't they stop it before it happened? Can you imagine? Is it that they don't know the implication of it? How it's going to mar their own agenda?
Hold on. There is nothing anybody would have done. He is there in Finland. Is it the fact that we denounce him? Yes. Is it the fact that nobody supported him? Yes. Is it the fact that he's in an environment where what do you call now, rule of law and freedom of expression is allowed? Yes. So with all these things at his disposal, he can do whatever he likes.
But you as a Southeasterner, Barrister Darlington, you as a Southeasterner, you know that he cannot deny the activities of Simon Ekpa and his group in Southeast. Barrister Darlington, IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in July said they should not be sitting at home order in Southeast. But up until today, people are sitting at home. Orders by Mazi or by Simon Ekpa. Now, are you not trying to say that the fact that IPOB is kind of divided, or we having another faction or section of it, is not kind of causing detriment to the agitation the agenda of IPOB?
Don't join two issues together. The sitting at home is in solidarity with Nnamdi Kanu.
Even when he has come up to say, don't sit at home for me.
Hold on. It's not as if Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ekpa is the one enforcing it. He is using brute force to intimidate the people. And everybody is against it. Get it right.
Are we still doing sit at home in the South?
So Nnamdi Kanu have said he doesn't want any sit at home. But the people are doing it because of what Simon Ekpa is doing.
That's why we condemn him. Are they still doing sit-at-home order in Southeast?
Sorry?
Is there sit-at-home order in Southeast?
If anybody is doing that, it's on his own position.
People have come out and they've killed multiple times.
So who did
because someone is saying people should sit at home.
Was it Nnamdi Kanu?
And people have come up to take full responsibility to say you have to sit at home.
Hold on, who did it? Who did it?
Simon Ekpa have come up to say so are you not saying that his grip on the South is like it doesn't have any effect, or we should let it be?
Look, that was why Now, don't you see the result now? That was why we denounced him. It is that activity that made us to denounce Simon Ekpa. Don't say that we are supporting him. That's what we are telling you here. It is because of that in those utterances and the behavior. That is why we denounce him. Is that not enough? What do you want us to do?
The denunciation you just talk about, number Wellington.
Before now, we denounce him.
What effect does he have in making sure that this statute order?
It is what happened in Finland. That was why he was arrested. That was why he was arrested.
All right.
And everybody said, yes, you prosecute him over there.
Okay.
Is that not enough?
Barrister.
So tell me what else. So if anybody is not sitting at home, it is on his own volition.
Barrister,
maybe they want the security situation to cool down.
It's interesting that you're saying people sit at home on their...
and their own volition, yeah, because of Nnamdi Kanu, not because
people
of Simon Ekpa.
People are afraid to come out because those that have tried to come out have been killed.
By who?
Businesses.
By who?
Unknown gunmen.
Oh, really? Oh, you are coming home now. Unknown gunmen. Was it Nnamdi Kanu's unknown gunmen?
No, but...
Was it?
Nobody's
so
Nnamdi Kanu.
We say since we don't know them, releasing Nnamdi Kanu.
So we're talking about the impacts. We're talking about the impact of the seat at home and the influence wielded by Simon Ekpa here.
He doesn't have.
We're trying to marry the two. He doesn't have an influence.
He doesn't. You can see it now. He doesn't. I'm not joking. It is when people support you that you can have influence. The Igbos are saying, no, you cannot continue to order the killing or whatever, and you still want us to support you. We are doing it categorically.
Are people still sitting at home on Monday?
I said I don't know. How can I know? People still go about their business in the Southeast. It mustn't be everybody at the same time. If you sit at home now, on what ground are you sitting at home? No, tell me, on what ground? Is it on Haneza that you should sit at home, or IPOB or Nnamdi Kanu? So if you sit at home, it's on your own volition. Not that the Igbos want you to sit at home. Get it right.
All right, then. Let me bring...
It cannot be our own responsibility. If you sit at home on Monday, it cannot be.
Even when the state governors of some states have come up to say workers should resume work, they should
if you sit at home, that way it is on your own volition, not that it is a principle.
Is it a volition or that someone is there making sure the sit at home happens? Because we have heard Simon Ekpa multiple times coming up to say the sit at home order must continue.
He's not paying for it in Finland. That is it.
All right, then.
We didn't support him.
Okay. Barrister, thank you very much. We have seen that with his arrest did not stop the declaration.
It's going down. It's going down.
You think it's going down?
It's going down, yes. I get a report from the village. It's going down.
We've seen a few people come out to identify. Some have said they are Minister of Communication. Some have said, they've apportioned roles to themselves in the government of Biafra in exile. And we see the attention they are getting on social media. We also know that at some point, Simon Ekpa tried to raise money on social media, and he raised quite a lot of money on social media. How that impact translates to the unrest at home now is what we're trying to deal with. He also did say that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released today, he still will not stop enforcing the seat at home until Nnamdi Kanu comes to see him in Finland and he sees him face to face. Maybe that is to be sure that he's not issuing the statement under duress. Maybe. I don't know, but maybe. But now, let me come to Mr. Fatunke now.
Moses, please add to what you are saying. Add it before you ask him. Add it that this thing happened.
Right, so if you have a point to make,
yes, it was in the past. Now, Simon Ekpa is in detention in Finland prison. Okay. So those things were in the past. My Bible said, all things shall pass away. Yes, let's not talk of the present now.
All right. Well, we know that the declaration came while he was in detention. And we also hear that it's not a bailable offense, so he's going to be in detention until about sometime next year. But we wait to see the impact of that. So the old things are not exactly passed away.
It has passed
just yet. We wait to see the impact of it all and see if the sit at home will be stopped. Today is another Monday, and before I came into the studio, I spoke to a friend in DENOUNCES, and my friend told me that his children are at home. They're not going anywhere today because they are still afraid that children might be affected. We know all of that happens. So are you going to say that it's all in the past for real? Or we wait to see the impact of it? The impact of his arrest?
It is left for the federal government We have called on them. Come. You have arrested Simon Ekpa. Please. Your security men are in the southeast. Is there any time the Igbo say, look, oh, these people, they should not do their work. They should not secure the southeast. If something is done wrong, if there is insecurity in the southeast, then the federal government should be held accountable.
Was he arrested by the federal government?
Sorry? I mean, this is at home now. Hold on. This is at home and insecurity in the southeast now. Because that was the clamor, Simon Ekpa. And that's why we say, arrest him, detain him, and prosecute him. Let us now see or know those unknown government in the southeast, who are they? The federal government should not answer us. That is what we are saying now. All this propaganda is coming home now. If there is any insecurity in the southeast, the federal government should not tell us who is behind it, because IPOB have made it categorically clear that they don't kill, they can't kill any Igbo man. So let them go and tell us who is that person in the southeast that is causing this problem. How can you call somebody unknown government? Remember, it was the federal government that called them unknown government. How can that be? Let them now go in and begin to fish out.
Barrister, you're confusing me. Are you asking the federal government to send forces in to fish out?
They're already there. They're already there.
But you're also asking them to leave so the people can
No, that was there. Hold on. That was there before Simon Ekpa was arrested.
Okay, so now that
now that he has been arrested,
the military should
on whose order? Yes, on whose order are they now acting? On whose order? On whose order are they now acting? The federal government should go and find out. That's what we are saying. Okay. Because this propaganda now, we are beginning to unravel it. We are beginning to unravel it. Let them tell us who is now giving them order. Or is it Simon Ekpa in prison? Or who? Or it cannot be Nnamdi Kanu. Now, you and I know that. So who is now, are they acting on their order for people to sit at home? Is there something
are you
like
not
that?
saying that the agitation for Biafra, it's more like an individual thing, no longer an ideology? Remember that this whole thing started since 1970.
That is not how to go about. We told you here. Hold on. We are in a modern era. Okay. The UN is there to take care of something. It's there in the UN Charter. Self-determination. There are templates for you to go about it. It's not by killing or fighting. We have said it clear. Okay. We have made it clear. That's what we are saying.
Let's bring Mr. Fafatunke into the conversation now. Now, you've heard the conversation so far. Are you of the opinion that the onus to end the sit-at-home now rests with the federal government? Are you of that opinion? Do you think that at this point in time, with how things have degenerated, the release of Nnamdi Kanu will effectively put an end to the unrest in the southeast? In your opinion?
Great questions, very incisive. My opinion is that whether it is Nnamdi Kanu, whether it's Simon Ekpa, or another Simon Ekpa that wants to
emerge
get out, a common trend is due process. When IPOB came on board, many of us indicated the fact that you've got to go through the normal process. We went to United Nations, look at them, self-determination, like my brother has said clearly, but self-determination follows some due process. Now, Nnamdi Kanu was outside Nigeria and he started sending invectives. We know part of some of the things that Simon Ekpa is trying to enforce now was also enforced somehow, somewhat, even to a limited degree. Now, for context, it was not only in Igbo land that we are having this. We are having it in the southwest also. Okay, the Middle Belt too, they were going to get, and they got warlords. The only difference, and I come back to my wisdom, well, may not be wisdom to other people, is the fact that this will fester if collectively people don't come up with one strong, decisive voice and say whether it is Simon Ekpa, whether it is Nnamdi Kanu, whether it is this, whatever it is that you want to do, please come home, okay, or come and let's do it through the normal process, through a process of talking, referendum.
You don't think the voice of IPOB spokesman, Yima, is enough to let you know the position of Southeasterners.
And I'm saying, even if it is necessary, but not sufficient.
Okay.
Because he is talking for IPOB. And go and watch what I'm saying now. Somebody is going to counter him from wherever. Even if this new one that has come out from Finland, if you scotch them or whatever it is, another one is going to come out somewhere. Why? Because collectively, as a people, we have not said no. We have not said no, not because we don't want you to have self-determination. We have not said no because of some of the things that Fina was alluding to. Because if you look at Santayana, Santayana made the point. When you think somebody is fighting for you, well, the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation. They go for the priest, they go for in the labor unions, they will eventually come for you. The chicken is coming up to roost. And I'm saying rather than continue to mutate this, I give my heartfelt salute to a prominent Igbo son. Unfortunately, he died. I'm talking about Nwanyawu. If anybody tells me that Nwanyawu is not as Igbo as any other person, of course he was attacked and all that, but they went and met Nnamdi Kanu and said, look, under the circumstance, please calm down. Let's look for a political solution. And I know that political solution is going on. When Ekpa now then came out and said, no, we are not going to agree, we don't agree, and all that kind of stuff. So I do not feel, I'm happy somehow that Emma Powerful made that statement, quite comforting. It should go beyond that. The people out on the street, I don't know, people talk about referendum, please go on social media. Go on Twitter. You will see and unsee young, able-bodied men and women from Igbo land sitting in the comfort of their homes, spewing out, even talking about, look, Ekpa should also be released. Why? And I said, again, reluctantly, when this happened in the Middle Belt, people got up and said, yes, the Moredas were not doing what they need to do and all that, and said, look, please.
I'm sorry.
This should not happen in the Southwest.
I'm sorry. I will have to interrupt you at this point because you talked about people in their homes. We don't know who they are. Truly,
that is
because
it. That's part of the things that
these people are behind the computers, and it's difficult to tell where they are from. Don't you think
the important thing is what are the mainstream Igbo political elites? What are they talking? That's the main thing.
Please hold on. Don't you think some individual somewhere might be putting some fire to this,
I'm telling
claiming to be Igbo?
It might even be his own people. It may be his own people.
Barrister,
yes, now.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. I'm used
no profiling.
I'm used to that.
No profiling.
People on Twitter.
No, he said people. Why is he profiling those people now? He said it now. Okay, why are you saying that it is we? It is we. That's Igbo young men and women. Igbo young. Is that not what you said?
Please hold on, Barrister.
How did you know?
I said people. Excuse me. I said people from that area.
Really? Is that not profiling?
No. Hang on.
How did you know?
Are you saying in your area it's only Igbo people that stay there?
Oh, really? So the people that are not from us that are saying this, how do you not say it is us?
You have Yoruba people staying there.
There are many of them.
Hausa people staying there.
Yes.
Then if you say that, then I rest my case. All I'm saying, I said the vast majority. When I was talking about Yoruba, I'm a Yoruba man. Is it only Yoruba people that stay in Southwest? You see, when you begin to stretch, this is the problem. When you begin to stretch things to very intolerable limits.
Look,
this is where you get.
If they are from the South, how do you not attribute it to us?
Barrister, hold on. We'll get to you when it's your time.
I said, look at Twitter. And I said, look at people in Twitter. If I said Igbos, that would have been a slip. But there are people on Twitter. There are Yoruba people on Twitter. They are saying, look, just go ahead and do what. That is why I'm not asking a fundamental question. Do we really have leadership? And I won't say in whatever area. Okay. Do we really have focused fundamental leadership? It's because you don't have focused fundamental leadership. That's the reason why. For the life and the blood of anybody, whether my friend is calling them or non-government or no government, that is killed every Monday, including security personnel. Come on, arrest my case.
All right, now we have Chuka Adewale Chukudile, joining us from Abuja. Good morning, Chuka. Good morning, Chuka. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning, Fina.
All right, good to have you in today's show,
I can
Chuka.
hear you. Good morning, Fina. Can you hear me?
All right. A quick one. We've been talking about the activities of Simon Ekpa, what is happening in the Southeast, and also we heard how Dr. Beatrice Pogo, who happens to be the president, national president of Middle Belt Forum, have talked about how that area has been marginalized. Now, holistically, do you think that what is happening in the South is, I'm talking about the cry for secession, agitation, and all, do you think that can also begin from the Middle Belt, given the fact that we're talking about how they've been marginalized, how they are not being let into the government activities and all that? Now that Dr. Beatrice Pogo have started talking about it.
Yeah, thank you, Fina. Okay, thank you for your question. And I think, for one, I need to say this. It seems like every political circle, there is always a cry for different regions of the country. It just seems like it's something that happens every new administration comes on board. You have people, like during Buhari's time, we had the Yoruba nation coming up to say they wanted independence. And then IPOB by Nnamdi Kanu also to say they want to succeed from Nigeria. Now we have the Middle Belt also as well saying they want to succeed. It's for me. I think it's all about autonomy. It's all about self-independence of the regions. The regions want to be independent, but Nigeria has been structured in the way whereby I find it very difficult for that independence of the states within the states to get the independence they're looking for. Because if you look at from different groups, different languages together for 60-something years plus now, is it at this stage we're going to have the Middle Belt saying, okay, they want to go on their way, the IPOB saying they want to have their own country called Biafra, Biafra nation saying they want to go the way of Biafra. I really don't see it's happening anytime soon. I really don't see it happening. I just feel it's different people with their own different agenda, which is, yeah, it's allowed. It's a democracy. You're allowed to wish for whatever you want to wish for. And I just feel it's something that it's just, in the large scheme of politics are play. They just play for me.
Yes, barrister.
The question you and I be asking ourselves, or even the leaders, is, who started this agitation? Whose regime was it so pronounced that Nigerians no longer
asked that question?
Yes, that is.
Know that
you did not hear me, Ba.
During the time of Buhari.
Oh, say really? Then why don't we call him and say, come? You say you're a leader.
But he's no longer in office.
Hold on. It is the problem we are trying to correct. Listen, we are trying to correct this. Then you, who came to reform Nigeria, you now came in now, and even the thing became more pronounced again. And you are saying you want to unite Nigeria, you want to reform Nigeria. Things are getting out of hand under your watch, under your party.
No, it's not.
That's what we are saying.
Well,
hold on.
Okay.
Moses, please, remove Buhari and TINUBU from this mix. Was the agitation this pronounced before?
Do you think?
So why did they take me off now?
If you remove these individuals, do you think the agitation will stop?
A leader will come that will unite Nigeria. Quote me, a leader will come that will bring these people together, and there will be less agitation. Yes, there will be less agitation. Yes.
From what part of Nigeria should
I said the leader will come. Let Nigeria look around. There is somebody they will bring here that will unite Nigeria. I am telling you authoritatively. Leave all the, is it not nepotism? A leader will come that will unite Nigeria, and in fact you won't even know, because where there is good governance, Moses, listen very well, appointments are evenly spread. Everybody gets his or her right. No particular ethnic group is told to go to their region, do this, we will take your property. When all these things are reduced to the barest minimum, Moses, who will be agitating and what will you be agitating for? Because when you start, your own people will even ask you, what is the problem? Your people will ask you, but what is going on ground now, which you and I can see? Is that not enough ground for agitation? You have what Ruben Abati said. All those, somebody saying they want to know the call.
Are you hearing me?
What happened? Now?
The man you just
Why did I go off now? Was that all they asked me? That was just it?
the government?
I don't know. But he said something. He's from the southwest. He said something from the southwest. He said something. Is that not enough to cause problem?
Doesn't that give you the impression that it has gone beyond the leadership now? Doesn't that give you the impression that the people themselves are divided along the usual fault lines?
No, it is the leader who did it. A leader is playing all our fault lines on our religious and all that. A leader, yes, a leader. You can see him playing out. Was anybody arrested? Do you know what will happen if these people who did this in last year were arrested?
So
but today they are being given appointments.
Mr. Darlington, you don't think that?
I think
no, if a leader comes and says, look, I don't want to hear this. That's what they did in Rwanda.
I think Aki has a response. Please go.
I am not done yet. I know you will respond.
Okay.
If a leader comes like they did in Rwanda and say, look, I don't want to hear what happened in Rwanda, whether Tutsi or Hutus, it has ended. That is how to build a country, not by lip service.
Okay.
If you have a leader who doesn't want to hear anywhere it is mentioned, arrest that person.
You think that is going to wipe out the pain and the grief people feel? Remember that after the war up until now, some people are still grieving the aftermath of that particular war. Barrister Darlington,
we have moved on.
Are you saying have you moved on? Really moved on?
If we have not moved on,
have we really moved on?
I said we who suffered the program, we have moved on.
And yet we're still seeing the individuals in Nigeria calling for people to go.
Because the people who caused it, we have not been sanctioned.
So don't you think that this is more like, an individual thing, or people still
No. It is not an individual thing. Listen very well. If you listen to what Shetima said with Amosu, it has continued. That's what we are saying here. There are leaders who are bent on dividing us more and more. Okay. The Igbos have moved on. If not, would have been the one killing and agitating in the southeast.
So you think that statement of I am of Igbo extraction or Yoruba or Hausa before a Nigerian is going to die down anytime soon?
Naturally. If the people who have tribalism in their DNA, if they can play it down, Nigeria will move on.
All right,
but they have not been able to do that. They are the problem.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, they are the problem. Because the Igbos, we don't dwell on tribalism. We don't.
Thank you very much. Let's hear you out.
Okay, so wisdom is profitable to direct. You asked a critical question, and the whole of Nigeria come to terms with fault lines becomes the issue of the day. We are discussing IPOB, and my brother has gone. Not that it doesn't have a point, but you see, it's not tangential to what we are talking about.
It's the question they asked me.
When you ask the question, he made a statement here, and it's free to his own opinion. But his opinion is not being shared by me, and it's not being shared by quite a number of others. I know there are quite a number of people who share his opinion. Agitation has always been prevalent. However, if a certain personality from a particular region of the country comes into the saddle, people from that region largely go and keep quiet. Let me start with Goodluck Jonathan, who the Indigos gave the name Nnamdi.
I was hoping that you start from there, because now the reason. Sorry, please. Now we have MBF, the Middle Belt group, asking for restructuring. Okay. No, please. So respond. Add that to it, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
So when Jonathan came in, suddenly there was so much peace, not just in the South, essentially in the Southeast. When Buhari came in, when Buhari felt that he was going to be cheated, everybody feels they are going to be cheated. They are not coming in. We were talking about the blood of baboons and all that. When he came in, even though the political arm of the terrorism that we know we had went down relatively calm during his time, other areas began agitating, including Southeast and Southwest. Now, Southwest has now gotten into it. In my opinion, Southwest, in relative terms, is virtually divided into different quarters. In sense that the vast majority of the Holo Polo in the Southwest have somehow gone a bit silent. And he made a point that the appointments and what have you. So the answer to your question is simple. What can end this agitation? Let an Igbo man become president of Nigeria. Listen to me, and let Nigeria listen right. If an Igbo man becomes the president of Nigeria, irrespective whether he's the best fit, whether he's ABCD, whether he is also going to come, as others are having a perception about the Indigos, that when they come in, everything now becomes, largely Indigo. If he comes in, there's going to be relative peace, and IPOB, and some
relative peace in Nigeria or relative peace in the Southeast?
From the Southeast.
Okay, so relative peace in the Southeast.
No. When that happens, go to the Northeast.
Will there be peace as well?
There can be peace in the
So
Northeast.
why don't we allow the Igbo man to still be there first, so that we're just supposed to know if it's going to be that way?
Let me finish.
Because when Obasanjo was the president,
Let me finish
we
now.
saw equal participation and there was no much agitation.
Northeast
Umaru Musa that was
is
there. There was
making
equal
a very
participation.
strong point that they are marginalized.
And
We
also,
have had
other people were there. There was equal
people from the
participation.
Indigo in this country and near Indigo that the Indigo have supported. In that area, they have never produced a president. So I am saying, by the time you begin all these kind of little things, but I agree with him also. I'm talking of Barrister here. Oh, no, he didn't agree to that. That the only solution to this is the fact that we recognize that Ahmadu Bello said to his friend Nnamdi Azikiwe, we have differences, and those differences are still there until we are able to resolve the leadership question. Each time I sit on this table, my friend is here, and people hear me elsewhere, that the only solution is not to continue to club us together and say we are one. Also, the solution is not what my brother, Barrister Agomo, is saying, that is a particular part of leader, is a particular leader, is whatever it is. Go and bring any leader. We don't have unfortunately, we don't have a consensus. He also made a point, which is good. He talked about.
We have to wrap up this conversation.
He talked about good governance.
Yes.
If you go regionally, you see, go regionally, whether it's the Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, Northwest, North Central, you find within those enclaves people who are governing well, and within those regions, people who are not governing well. So it has nothing to do with good governance. Is a mindset, a capacity, a character, a competence, and a compassion.
Well, we can go on and on about this, because we know that if a group of people have been referred to as a tiny dot, they have every right to be aggrieved. They have every right to feel marginalized. So,
likewise, if a large group that is not a dot is being profiled and being called terrorists, when all of them are not terrorists, they also have a reason to provide themselves. All I'm saying is that, look, let's fear.
All right.
Fear.
So would that be your concluding thoughts on this one?
Oh, my concluding thought. My concluding thought is simply, let us all get together on a round table and let us restructure Nigeria. Let's all go to our different tents and decide what we are going to bring to the center.
Okay.
End of story.
All right.
Now, Moses, I have said this severally. Except those who brought terrorists into this country are prosecuted. Except those who are sponsoring them are prosecuted, we will never have peace. They are the architect of what we are going through. I don't know why people want to run away from this fact. Okay. How can you say you love Nigeria and you went outside and brought terrorists into Nigeria, and up to today nobody wants to discuss it? Imagine if an Igbo man had done that. Moses, imagine if an Igbo man had gone to bring terrorists and say, come, jihad has started, they come and take over Nigeria. Moses, how would they be talking about it by now? Tell me. Why these people are running away from the real facts? You brought your kinsmen to surround the whole Nigeria, killing people, raping women in their farmland, and my brother here don't see it as a problem. Is that not the attitude of our problem today? Insecurity that is causing this agitation. Why did Amotekun form? Was it not because of this insecurity in the South? When the South could no longer rest under Buhari? Tell me, right. Was it good under Buhari that our elder statesmen had to sue him to court for causing insecurity in Nigeria? They sue him for 50 billion. Every day, people don't want to mention Buhari's name in all this matter. Why? Meanwhile, it is Buhari's kinsmen that are causing the problem all over the place. Are they not the Fulani herdsmen who are killing people in their farmland? Is it me? How many people, how many times have you heard that Adibo went to not kill anybody? They don't go to your farm with impunity, with arrogance, take over the farm, kill you. Is that not provocative enough? How you even run away from the real facts? Tell me, is that how to group the country? Is that how to be united? You allow a particular ethnic group to be running roughshod over other ethnic group in Nigeria.
Barrister, thank you for your
to do their business, they must take over Nigeria. Is that what is called reformation and unity?
Very much for your concluding thoughts there.
Every time people run away from the real facts.
Nice conclusion. I disagree with you.
Then you must disagree. I don't want to hear.
With your profiling.
With profiling. With profiling. Because they're the ones doing it.
There are people in that
Why can't they call them or the other? They have leaders in Fulani land. They have their leader. Why can't their leader call their marauding headsmen? I will call them to the round table.
I do not understand.
Well, this is not the position of
VoP TV.
They are the problem. This is the position of the guest on the program. Well, let's go to another conversation.
Let's discuss it. Who started?
We're going about it right now.
What other man?
Thank you very much, Barrister Valentin. Let's move on to another conversation.
Talking like this?
Let's go to another conversation now. Let's look at what the lawmakers are saying concerning the tax reform bills that is sent to the National Assembly. Well, we hear that the National Assembly has postponed debate on it indefinitely. But let's talk about this one when we come back from this break.
From the views on the street
we go to bed empty hunger
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now,
Well, let's talk about another conversation now. The deputy spokesman of the House of Representatives, Philip Agbese, has supported President Bola Tinubu's proposed tax reform bills, asserting they will alleviate the burden on poor Nigerians and small businesses once enacted. The introduction of these 4 executive bills has sparked fierce debate between the 36 state governors and the federal government, with the former demanding their withdrawal for further consultations. Despite some governors reconsidering their stance, Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, has urged his northern counterparts to reject the bills, warning of potential economic damage to the region. Well, in an interview, Agbese supported TINUBU's tax reforms, emphasizing that lawmakers prioritize national interest over individual or sectional concerns. Oborno South Senator Aline Dume revealed his initial intention to leave the ruling All Progressive Congress APC due to grievances with the tax reform bills. However, his close relationship with the president and his desire to see him succeed has kept him, Aline Dume, in the party. Well, we also have Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, who has called for transparency in the tax reform process. Adding to the discourse, APC chieftain in Osun State, Mr. Olatubosun Oyitiloye, has expressed concern over the rising cost of food items, deeming them unaffordable for the masses. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has acknowledged that the harsh impact of his economic policies, but maintained that these measures were necessary to rescue the country from its current crisis, noting that the policies are beginning to yield positive results. Oh well, let's go back to Chuka, who is in Abuja. Chuka, from what you can see, what would you say is the mood of the northern elite in Abuja, especially since we are having northern governors speaking up against this tax reform bill, especially as Governor Zulum has, called on his counterparts to rise up against this bill. What's the mood in Abuja this morning? Chuka? Or we seem to have a network glitch there, unfortunately.
Yes, as you can suspect. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Right now, I'm very sure there's a lot of distrust. There's a lot of distrust with the government, all the elites. I mean, you talk about the masses as well. The northern masses, the elites, everybody right now they seem to be like, okay, this tax reform bill that's about to be passed, it's not in favor of the North. They feel it's a way of sidelining the North from the center. They feel it's a way of taking the power away from the North. When I talk about power, quote unquote, economic power, because the North depends heavily on resources that come from the South. And when it comes to issues of this particular VAT reform, the Northerners see it as something that it's a pseudo war against them, if I can use that word. And it's caused a lot of distrust. Last weekend, we were talking to some people out here in the city, and you can be very sure that at this point, they've lost all hope and faith in this current administration. They feel they actually threw their weight behind him, but the current president has not repaid that faith in lots of ways. And one of those ways is this VAT that's being passed through the National Assembly. So it's left for what plays out in the next coming days and weeks. It's left for us to see. The northern governors have come out to say they are not in support of this. They've come out to say that the bill should be withdrawn and should be taken back to the House so they can read it. It should be amended and read through. We wait to see if the president is going to. We're going to wait to see if the president is going to, to give them that reaction. If the bill is going to be passed with or without.
All right.
With or without them.
Personally, let me ask you this, Chuka. Personally, you've seen how the FAC allocation is being shared. I do know that most of the money is being generated from tax and all that, apart from the one we got from crude oil. And then some people are saying that this new tax reform is going to make the people in the North to put their acts together to make sure that they see other ways where they will be able to governize and make sure that the little taxes that they get will be put in place, at least. They will also explore other views to, see how they can raise money. If we're to go with this present tax reform, do you now think that, personally now, do you think that can in any way, make the North to be viable just the way the South is?
Oh, yes, Fina, it can. It actually can. And now the question is, the Northerners, they should hold their government, because in this case, it seems as if they just be spoon-fed from the federal, and they're not knowing that the governors also have a huge role to play. The governors now should be able to make their states viable. They should be able to make their states able to be independent away from the federal, away from the resources that come from the federal. So everything boils down to the state governors actually, and it's left for the citizens themselves to hold their governors accountable, to hold them by the neck and say, this is the time for us to get our acts right, because you cannot be spoon-fed. We cannot be spoon-fed for forever. It seems like that spoon-feeding is an end, and that is why the Northerners are really not happy at this. But the reality check is Nigeria cannot wait because of the North. If you're going to move forward, I feel this bill the president is passing is a good one. And if it's left for everybody to go and get their house in order, get their acts right,
so
and come up with
damage the economic
solutions,
potential of that region.
Plans that can keep them sustainable.
So you don't think in any way it's going to damage the potential, the economic potential of the Northern region, just like Babagana Zulum is alluding?
It's good. In the long run, it's a picture we're looking at. It's a bigger picture. So you suffer now for a better tomorrow. I think that's how it should be. Babagana Zulum, who will come out to say the governors, you need to ask him, what are you doing in your states? In what ways are you generating revenue to be sustainable? What if there was no revenue coming from the federal? Are you not going to survive? Are you not going to pay salaries? Are you not going to pay bills? Do you have to wait for the federal? So I think the state back and get their acts together, get their acts right. So that's just how it is.
Thank
but
you so
up
much
here in the North, I can tell you for one that the Northerners are not happy with this bill. That's what I can tell you for one.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Chuka. You seem to be enjoying the weather in Abuja there. Well, then, get us some, what now?
Kilishi.
Kilishi, yes. Get us some of those when you're coming back. Thank you, Chuka.
Back to the studio now.
I'll keep that in
I'd like to set up with you, Mr. Akin Fatanke. In the words of the rep spokesman, Abasa said that this reform, the tax reform, is going to help the poor people in Nigeria. It's more like going to, help to lift up the burden on poor Nigerians. Now, my question is this. Look at it this way. For those who are earning below 1 million naira annually, they're exempted from the tax. Now, there's this part, again, that a lot of people are looking at when we talk about the VAT, value-added tax. The people or the big companies are the ones that will have to pay this tax. Isn't that a way of making those that has been exempted from this tax to still pay the tax by buying these products from the market? For example, this way, someone is producing cement, and that person have to pay high tax. And you, because you don't end up to 1 million every year annually, and then you have like a building you want to set up, maybe a mini kiosk for you to set up. Wouldn't you indirectly pay that tax by buying that particular cement on a higher price, given the fact that the person that manufactured the cement will add the money again, the tax he pays to that particular product? Isn't that more like, repeating or making people who you think you're exempted from the tax pay it indirectly?
Thank you very much. And I'll go about it this way. When I was in the university, and then you bring a big equation, we begin to try to find a way to unravel it until a professor came in one day, and then he was able to break it down to pieces. And people say, oh, is that what you are saying? Why are you making all this kind of big English? I'll come to a particular point. So, Pina, let's say you stay in the north, and I stay in the south. You earn 100,000, 150,000 per month, even in the private sector. Right now, you are going to pay some payee if your organization is well structured. Okay, at the end of the day, you are going to pay 20,000 naira as tax. It's not going to end there. So let's say you are in Borno State, where my dear professor has just made a statement. So the state government will now then come and then give you, say, look, for even breathing the air that you have in there, there are about 2 or 3 taxes that you should pay, including whatever it is. So add another 5,000 naira. The local government that you reside will also say, yes, we are recognized under the Constitution, the radio you use, the bicycle you use, add another. So you have ended up paying 30,000 naira. In this new regime, with what you are earning, you are not going to pay anything. I begin to wonder, is that better for you or not better for you? The reason being that you will not pay anything, but I stay in Lagos, or maybe I even stay in Borno State, and I earn 5 million. I should be made to pay that tax to make up for what you ordinarily would have paid. Is this rocket science for people to see? So let me now then come back. You should take. It is you take. You are going to take more. Now, in the first place, you are not paying, company income tax or personal income tax. You are now even being given something in addition. Does that not enhance you? The only reason, if I were to be at your end, why I will support that it should not happen is because I want to continue to pull you down. I want to continue to do things and say I'm rankadede here and there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Finally, which is a very good point, Fina, that I think you are making this morning. If I produce Coca-Cola here, why should I not look for how to produce something else where you are? There are so many things that you have. Say, take yam in the Middle Belt. Can we produce it? Can we process it? Can we now look for adjunct industries whereby it helps us to grow our local GDP? And thereafter, look for people who are going to consume. But even if you produce it there, if the people that are going to consume it are largely going to be from Igbo land or from Yoruba land, they are also going to benefit from it. The third point is that there is something in management, they call it management of change. If you want to do anything, envisage that things are going to be disrupted, either because you are just not interested or you have a fear. When computers came, there were people who were somewhat scared of the computer. There are people who are still scared of computers up till today, not knowing that this little box is going to have to change their lives, it's going to AI. This is my point. It is not true. If you drill down, Lagos State is now ceding what they normally will be earning, is ceding. Lagos State governor should say, yes, I should support what is coming from the north. No. Lagos State is not only just ceding. River State, according to my professor, yes, but you are looking at the petroleum, which has a separate thing entirely, and you cannot be looking at it from the VAT angle. If you now look at that, the federal government now has done something. That irrespective, speaking to Lagos State, please, Father Christmas, Lagos State, you are the big brother. You are going to please support this so that we can support others. What is Lagos State saying? Okay, what we can do is, if Osun State, that is contagious, if Oyo State, if like Lake Rise, up north, if in Niger State, it's going to be such that it's going to benefit these people there to be able to produce more so that at least my own population can eat. That is how to look at progressives.
Right, Barry?
Now.
Okay.
So when you do that, finally, federal government now then decided, this tax reform succeeded in doing something. The take of the federal government is now going to be reduced. When you reduce that, can you put that in a special purpose kind of funds, say in case you don't get to your destination, you can use that as a tide over. Finally, the initial discussion we had, we were talking about biases or no biases. Okay. This particular bias that is coming from the north.
It's not just coming from the north, Mr. Fatinke. With that, I'll have to ask.
No.
It's not just coming from the north. The 36 state governors
let me land on the 19 state governors.
36 state governors are saying something.
The 19 state governors, I repeat, are saying they should not. It should not go initially because they didn't read the whole gamut of the bills. Now they have read the whole gamut of the bills. There is a hidden agenda here, and that's the point I'm making. The hidden agenda is let's continually just sit on a tripod that is not based on equity. Because if it is based on equity, some people will not continue to hold on to ransom. Remember, citizenship,
okay,
women rights or no women rights, girls' rights or no girls' rights, we are still being held to the ground because a group of people are mesmerizing and bastardizing their population for selfish reasons.
Okay, all right then. Barrister.
What's this?
Barrister.
Yes.
With everything that we have seen play out, with the vehement rejection of the tax reform bill, and maybe some are beginning to look at it like, okay, there might be some good to it, but with the 19 state governors, with the reaction, reaction that
from their caucus at the National Assembly,
with the reaction,
they speak
and
with
also
one voice.
The senators reacting to this, do you think the president might be losing footing in the northern part of Nigeria as he also clamors for 2027 elections?
Moses, if you are going to introduce any policy, it must have a human face and it must be for sustainability. Anything you are going to do about your tax today that is not in conformity with the realities on ground will be suspect. It's as simple as that. If you are come out and say, okay, because of you people don't want to do alcohol in your region, you cannot take VAT from alcohol. It is a debatable issue. But there are other things. Remember, it is four tax reform bills, 4 of them. That is why the 36 state governors say, look, we don't agree with you. Because there are some hidden things there that is making them to say, no, we don't agree. I am saying 36 state governors with the vice president, they rejected it. Yeah. I expected TINUBU to come round and say, okay, Mr. Man, which area did you say that you don't agree? What happened? Tell us. Let us see whether it makes sense. He didn't want to hear that. Eh? He wants to shove it down the throat of everybody. Oh that is where the suspicion comes in. And I'm telling you, listen very well. You heard what Ndume said. They were discussing a different matter. All of a sudden, some tax experts entered the house and started talking whatever. But they are forgotten. Listen very well, though. Moses, the federal government is very lazy when it comes to tax. Very, very lazy. There are so many avenues they can raise tax without disturbing Nigerians. There are some countries that they don't disturb their citizens because of tax.
This tax reform bills has it that those that earn lesser will not pay taxes.
They will be exempted.
Is that not
really? Measure? Are you serious? Hold on.
I'm asking you the question.
In what way? Moses, listen very well. Listen. Which are those that earn the less? They don't have their own separate market. Go to all the market in Lagos. Let us start from where we are. No matter what you go and buy, you will pay money to Omonile. Yesterday, on Saturday, I told them to go and buy me a bunch of unripe plantain. Do you know because of the price they had to pay to Owoile? I didn't buy that thing.
But you know, can we focus on the tax?
I am coming. These are the poor. Hold on, I'm coming. Listen. These are the same poor people who go and trade in those markets. So, if you say I should not pay tax of 200 naira, and when I go to market, I pay 1,000 naira.
So, should we blame the government?
Hold on, I'm coming.
Themselves, because
I am coming, Moses.
Staple food.
We were told the same thing when they wanted to do the same thing in Lagos here. When Alpha Beta took charge of their taxes, Moses, what came out of it? Up to today, did any good news come out of that? I am asking you. When they told us that with Alpha Beta,
I'm here to ask you the question.
Now, listen. There are so many reasons why people are kicking against this. You may not know until it started working. Remember, when they told you here, fuel subsidy is gone, and the TINUBU told us that it is to benefit the poor. Most is true of us.
Is the poor benefiting from the fuel subsidy removal today? Please answer that question. Oh. When they came to electricity, listen, they told you, electricity, no, it is for the elite to pay band A, so they should pay more because they have today. Both the elite and the poor, are they not paying?
So is this a case of distrust?
I am coming now. Let me finish my narration so that you will not blame me.
I'm not blaming you.
Hold on. I'm coming. Hold on. All the things they promise us that their reform will help to bring succor to the poor. Please, Moses, have you seen any succor to the poor? I don't know the one gnashing their teeth now.
No, but
so the same way you are telling me now that those who are not anymore, they will pay less.
So, Barrister, it's a case of distrust.
You don't have any tax administration in Nigeria.
Are you saying
everything is mumbled up?
But Barrister Darlington, now
at the end of the day, the poor will pay more.
Barrister, let's look at it this way.
They will pay more because you don't have tax administration.
I think
you don't even have a tax inspectors. Who can? Do you know that we're supposed to be earning over 400 billion naira?
And you know why you have that distrust? If somebody comes from a particular region,
which a particular region? I am giving you an example of what is here, what is going on here. I am telling you, Moses, listen very well. Listen, the federal government is very lazy. We're supposed to be earning over $400 billion from foreign taxes. Nobody's talking about
and that makes me to ask you this question of MOUs that we just signed now with friends. Barrister Darlington, hold on, please. Let me finish.
Ghana have even reduced their VAT to 5%.
We have a new MOU that was signed, between Nigeria and French government, which has to, it has impact according to what Minister of Finance said about how it's going to create more job opportunity for Nigerians. And Dela Alake also talked about opening our windows. I'm talking about mineral resources for the French authorities to have access to.
The one you opened it for
now, are you now saying that this is not a way for us to generate and also make sure that Nigeria economy also is being pushed?
Please, let me
remember that we have a 300 million euro also to be part of what we're going to get from this MOU that
really?
Federal government signed.
You have seen it now. Have you? Please, I want to ask you, is this the first time you are signing this?
You're talking about foreign tax.
I am asking you now, is it the first time you are signing MOU with foreign government or foreign companies? What came out of it? This mineral resources that Dela get is it the first time? Did they not come out and tell us that some big men are in charge of mining this? What did they do about
it?
Nothing.
To help to
nothing. So it is the French now that will come and sanitize your solid mineral industry. It is the French government. Can you just imagine? All these other ones that have been making money out of this thing, for what has your government done about it? Nothing. FINA, nothing. And you are telling me because you were just signed recently with France, therefore it is Uhuru. The other one you signed with UK, with US, China, what happened to it? Please, what happened to it?
Moses.
At least if you have made a very big success of the ones you did before, we can say, okay, there is Uhuru coming. It is the same deceit.
But the president says that all his policies and reforms are yielding fruit.
What?
He made mention of that.
Okay, I'm good.
Philip,
he should hold on, let us begin to tick the boxes, please. Tell us which of them have succeeded.
Okay, excuse me.
In what area?
Please.
In what area?
Please, can I ask, as I continue to sit here, what is the subject?
The subject is tax.
We're looking at the state of the nation, economic.
Oh no,
that's the tax we are suspicious of that tax, and who will collect the money? Who will collect the money?
Can we be focused?
We are focused.
On what we are saying.
Area boys are collecting tax for government.
But Mr. Darlington,
you are talking, and I didn't interrupt.
Go ahead.
Let's have some decorum here.
We have already. Okay. I am very angry. The Lagos State government is watching. Why Agboros are making life difficult for people?
Hold on.
Don't taxes that Agboros are collecting. Who are they giving it to? I don't know who are making life difficult for people. Go to the bus stop. See how much they are collecting from motorists. The Lagos State government. Is that not tax? Is that not tax?
We'd like others to have their say as well. So, Barrister, thank you very much for your take on it. Please go on.
So my point is that...
Please wrap this up with your concluding thoughts as well.
I'm very clear that I came here and you introduced a subject, but as usual, somebody goes in a tangent.
Just go on.
It's unfortunate because, not only people in Nigeria are listening to us, people outside Nigeria are listening to us. Please, let's focus. We are going to hit it straight. It's a matter of trust. Nobody is saying that a particular government or the previous government or whatever it is a problem. People do not have trust in governance, and because those who come in to govern do turn by turn. But we cannot continue there. We are looking at tax reforms. My brother here Seriously? I keep on asking myself, simple question that he was asked, whether it's in his region, in some other region, that's going to help. You are now not going to be faced with multiple taxation. The poor and the poor are now going to get more into their pockets than what they are getting now. The outer ecosystem about the macro, we don't have food, we don't have security, we all know that. But in a journey of 1,000...
He made a point. He made a point when he talked about subsidy removal and every other thing and how that has impacted.
Exactly.
These things, Barrister, please hold on. These things were purportedly to alleviate sufferings of the poor, but can Nigerians say the sufferings of the poor has been alleviated?
Very good question. Whether you call it, depending on removed fuel subsidy, partial or no partial, I happen to know as an economist that more money are going to the states.
To the states.
So wait. So when more money are going to the states, what are the states doing about it? As I speak with you, the labor unions are going to be picketing the states. It is a mindset of people who just don't have compassion. For me, my conclusion.
Yes, thank you.
This is a fly great for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now look at one thing. Look at the politics. Look at the north. Look at the south.
All right, then. Let's have.
Look at the south. They will continue to play us and people will come and begin to do whatever it is.
Seconds.
But whether it is going to take Nigeria forward, if somebody from other region do the same thing,
this is where we have to
those
anchor.
From that other region will now then say,
Barrister,
happy.
you have 30 seconds.
Good, Moses.
30 seconds.
Except there is an amendment to the Constitution. This thing will not work, just like the local government autonomy that has caused so much problem in Nigeria. That's what I'm saying here. You don't just wake up because you want. Hold on, you have started though. You don't just wake up because you want to please the people. You say you are bringing tax reform, you are bringing without doing the fundamental.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
You will not do it because this thing will fail.
The fundamental.
We know it will fail. Don't argue about it. It will fail.
It will not fail.
It will fail. It has already failed.
It cannot fail.
All the foreign companies, how much are they paying you?
It will fail in your household, not my own household.
It has failed already.
It will not fail. Nigeria will not fail.
It has failed.
In the studio.
Everything you want to do, you don't wake up and just to please people.
Let's say here that the opinions shared on the program are that of the guest, and not the position of VoP TV.
No, the opinion is from my mouth, not me. It's my mouth that spoke. It's my mouth that spoke.
And that's why we say anything that you say here is coming to come back to you.
Big thanks to our guest,
is positivity for Nigeria.
And also, thank you to Mr. Aki Fatunke. Let's also thank Chuka Chukudili for joining us on the show. Chuka Adewale Chukudili. Thank you very much. We'll take, this is it. That's it on the show. But join us again at 9 o'clock for newspaper review. On behalf of the backroom staff and my colleague here, Fina Okechukwu, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.